So this is the neural network simulator we'll be using for assignment 7. This is the same stuff we covered in class. But in case you need a refresher, here's a quick review. So you go to the link to the Java Neural Network Simulator on WebCT, you scroll down, find where it says download area, click on that, scroll down till you find the javaNNS for Windows, click on that to download, unzip it, and you're off and running. You should get a folder like this. In this folder you want to find the jar file, the executable jar, javaNNS. We're going to run that. Let me resize this window a little bit. Okay. You can open up an existing network if you already have one. Open up the network file or create a new network file. By default, it's the default file here. We need a couple tools. We need to use the Create Layers tool. Now, we're going to be creating a network with, I'm going to bring up the assignment here, 10 input units, any number of hidden units, and it can be grouped in a couple different ways, and then 5 output units. So first I'm going to create the input units, create a layer. The width, I could make it 10 by 1 or something like that. I'm going to make it 5 by 2, so they're kind of in a little cluster there. I'm going to leave the top position 1, 1, 1. It'll show up here at the top corner. For input type or for unit type, I'm going to switch it to input. We'll be using input, hidden, and output. And you can always just leave these the same and hit create, and it creates my network here. I can change the names, but it's not the easiest thing to do, so I'll just leave that as the case. Now, I'm going to create my hidden layer with some number of units. I'm going to make it maybe a 4 by 1, and you can try different sizes. Try 20, try 4, see what happens. And the position I'm going to make this is the X1, so it's down here, and then I'm going to make the Y maybe 4, so it should show up down here somewhere if I do this right. Now I switched it to hidden. So I have input units, hidden units, and output units. The middle unit is called the hidden units because they're not necessarily input or output. Again, this can stay the same, create. Now I can highlight these units and move them up if I want, or move them around if they're not quite in the right spot. Okay, the last one, now that last one you could choose how big it is. This one we need 10 input units and 5 output units. We're going to categorize these patterns into 5 categories. And again, I'm going to want the X to be 1, so it's over here, and the Y to be 6, so it's down a ways. So it should position it 1, 6 down there, and switch it to output units. Everything else is good. Create. And there's my output units here. So now I've created my layers. Hit close. Go to tools. I was creating layers. Now I'll create connections. And I'm just going to do connect feed forward. That's what you should be doing. And hit the connect button. It'll connect all your units, feed forward. So every input unit will be connected to every hidden unit. Every hidden unit will be connected to every output unit. There we go. Okay, that's our basic setup. I want to save this. And it'll save it as a network file. Tom assignment 7 or something like that. Save it out there. Okay, so I've saved this network, so next time I can just open it up and start from there. Now I'm going to train it on some patterns. So let me go back to my folder here. I've got some sample patterns, 2 different sets, training patterns and a testing pattern. I'm going to go into my training pattern. And I'm going to open it up, and make sure I open it up with WordPad. Usually if you just double click it won't, I don't know what it'll open up with on those computers downstairs. I'm going to choose program. Again, once you do it with WordPad once, you're fine. But usually the first time you have to choose the program and select WordPad. So I'm going to select WordPad. Again, usually yours will probably be at the bottom of the list, but I already selected it once, so it's at the top. Select that and open that training set into WordPad. So, okay, I fixed a little glitch here I had, and here I'm opening up the problems. Here's my pattern file. The top stuff you shouldn't necessarily change. It says there's 5 patterns, 10 input units, and 5 output units. So that's why our network's kind of set. And then we specify each of the input patterns and output patterns, and they are matching. So we're going to classify this input pattern as the first unit on and the rest of the units off. This input pattern as the second unit on and everything else off, and same with the other one. So each of these forms a set, an input pattern, and the corresponding output pattern we're going to train that network on. And what we're going to do is have you go through and create your own patterns of some way. Again, we're going to use zeros and ones here. So maybe I'll want to make the first 4 left ones on and that. And then maybe this one I'll want to do some different pattern here. So again, your job is to go through here, edit these patterns in some ways. Maybe I'll make some of them a little more challenging here. These have a shared set of nodes that are on, but some aren't. So basically you probably won't change output patterns, but change the input patterns to some different interesting input patterns that you want to try to classify. And so do that. I'll save this and get out of here. Now I'm going back to my neural network simulator. I've saved this. Now I've got the network here, but up here it's for the training and the validation testing. That's at the none. I need to open up my pattern so I can work. I'm going to go open and find my pattern sample file that I saved. It's a .pat. Open that up. That didn't look right. Just wait. Okay, because saying I go and open up the pattern set, and it just should open up and display assignment 7 trading pattern and up here. Now I can try out my network a little bit. I'm going to go to Tools and bring up my control panel and drag that down here. See if I can reorganize things a little bit. I'm going to stick the control panel over here, I guess. I'm also going to, let's just look at this. I can initialize my network to some random weights. You might see all the weights are 0 right now. I'm going to hit init, and then all the weights are random. Now I can go to update, and I can try out some of my patterns. And so it'll show me my pattern number, and I can go through each pattern. And what happens is it'll show that pattern on the screen. Like my first one, the 4 units on the far left were all on. And it shows the activations right here. Blue is inactive, yellow or green, bright green is active. And so some of these are getting active here. And I'll tell you a number amount 0.7 here. But now I want to do some training, so it'll learn the patterns. It'll learn this first pattern. It should activate the first unit. I'm going to look at, go to View Air Graph so I can see my air graph here also. Now I'm going to go to Learning, and I'm going to learn for maybe, I'm just going to leave this set here, hit Shuffle and Learn All. And it shows the learning that's taking place here. So again, and then I can go back and see how it's doing. I can go to each of the units. And it's still not learning everything that well. Here, a lot of the units are not being learned. The first one, it's activating this a little bit, but not much. If I go to the second one, again, the second one isn't activated. So what I have to do is work on learning a little bit more with this. I'm going to learn, and here I'm going to change it to like 1,000 steps. I'm going to turn my grid on here and try this, and clear this graph again, and try the learning again as I go. So now I'm going to do 1,000 cycles, learn all. So hopefully my error bar will get very low here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So originally it was erring on about 4 or 5 of the 4 or 5 patterns, and now it's down to about 0 of the 4 or 5 patterns. So that's a little better. So again, now I can go back here. For the first pattern, it learns this pattern, and it highlights that one. It's number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's learned all those patterns. Now I can try out my test patterns. What you should do is go in and edit your patterns. Where's my pattern file here? Go back and open that with WordPad. Make some slight variations on these test patterns. Maybe what happens if I do something like this? Change 1 or 2 of the bits. Either add some additional information here or delete it. And then save that as a different file. Let's save that as not training. And these are examples I'm not going to train on. I'm just going to test on these. So I won't. The network won't ever see these until it tries them out. It won't ever try to learn them. These will be novel patterns to it. So now again, I'm going to go and open up this testing samples patterns. And now I can go through my updating and see. And here it's still, even with just 2 of these units on, it still thinks it's pretty well number 1. Although here, again, I turned off 1 unit and turned on another unit, and it's pretty close. It's just not quite sure. Should this be a 2 or a 3? So it kind of updates both of them in between. So it doesn't really get that one correct. The third one, it gets correct still, and the other ones will get correct because I only modified the first 2. But you should modify all 5 and then see how close your updating is. So that's the basic plan. Create this network, have as many or as few of the hidden units as you want as you go here, and then so it's kind of set up in a structure. You have to have 10 input units and 5 output units. Create your patterns. You should have 2 pattern files, one for training and one for testing. The testing one should be slightly different than the training one, so let's use some novel patterns.